This is Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerantz. We're in Westchester today, and we're joined by Dr. Mark Henderson. He is the Mayor Pro-Tem of the city of Gardena. He is a new member of that council, relatively speaking.
Yes, Brad, thank you.
And I want to get a sense from you, why did you decide to run for the Gardena City Council? You're a doctor of education. You're very busy at Pierce College. What made you decide to make that leap into public service?
Well, Brad, thank you for inviting me here.
Of course.
I enjoy this opportunity. What made me decide to run for Gardena City Council is that I felt that I could add something to the soup. I always believe that we should engage the process as community, but sometimes it's easy to complain about things from your couch versus just saying, well, I need to get involved. So I got involved in the community through youth athletics and sports and wanted to be a part of the solution versus always complaining about the problem, which means that now you have to insert yourself into the process.
So let's talk about the process, because government is like sausage making.
Yes, it is.
It may taste good at the end, but you don't want to be part of the process in the middle. And I want to get a sense from you, especially coming from a city council of a nice mid-sized city, about 60,000 people. How's the process?
The process in making sausage, as you state, is something that nobody likes, but we all love the product at the end. Me being kind of coming from a working class family I'm not afraid of the work. The process is great, especially when you start thinking about the issues that our community deals with and other local communities deal with. It's a process, and in the process, there are some things that you need to take into consideration in regards to the process. Who is going to be impacted by the process? Who should be involved in the process? Are all the right people involved in the process?
I want to talk about the process specifically as it relates to city governments in the state of California. There is a significant desire to create an air of transparency.
Yes.
Folks want to know what's going on in their government. They don't want to think that their government is run through backroom deals.
Yes.
And I absolutely appreciate that. As a result of that desire, something known as the Brown Act was passed. Maybe 50 years ago, I would say.
Roughly.
And the Brown Act requires that all, I'll call it negotiations, all government be done in public. And as it relates to a city council, for example, you cannot speak to any members of your elected body if you reach a majority. So let's say you have 5 members on your council.
We currently have 4.
4 plus 1?
We haven't had one. Our mayor recently resigned.
Okay, but for argument's sake, you have 5 people on the council.
5 people on the council.
You can talk to one person
Yes.
about an issue.
Yes.
If you talk to a second elected person on that same body, you have violated the Brown Act.
Yes.
What do you think of that system, which clearly its goal is to create government in the open?
Right. I think that's actually a good system, and the reason why I believe that it's a good system is that it removes the stigma or the perception that government is working for itself, and those that are in elected positions are working for themselves and not for the people. The people is what the government should be about, so there should not be those opportunities where you can enrich yourself.
But let me continue with the argument, if I may. I hear you, and I completely understand the desire for transparency. But in life, we navigate.
Yes.
We negotiate.
Absolutely.
You're a business guy. You're an MBA.
Absolutely.
The art of negotiation is so much what any deal is about, even a political deal.
Yes.
And so if you are not allowed by law to talk to your fellow council members about an important issue before your council, unless you're sitting on the dais, how do you figure these issues out?
Well, depending upon what the issue is, you definitely want to know where you stand on the issue. If you're the elected leader that's actually trying to be the proponent of the issue, you want to see where your colleagues are on the issue.
But you're not even allowed to go to a staffer and say, well, how's so-and-so going to vote? That's not allowed. I mean, you really need...
Because you really want people to vote on the merit of the issue, and you also want the issue to be brought before the people so the people can also weigh in on the issue.
I get it.
But if you're also a proponent of trying to push an issue or an agenda, you kind of want to know where your colleagues are, but at the same time, you don't want to stack the deck against everybody that's going to be a part of this process, because you figure the decisions that we're making don't just impact the 5 of us that are sitting up there. It impacts the community. So you need to think about that. That's why open discussions are good and everything, so everybody understands exactly what the issues are, and you want people to vote on an issue based on the merit of the issue.
And you believe that if there are discussions outside of open session, there's a chance that they won't vote on the merits? I'm pushing you, so
no,
forgive
it's okay.
me.
It's okay,
yeah.
and I think we all should be pushed to really make sure that we're convicted and we believe what we believe. I think it's good to kind of get a sense of where a colleague is, and you can speak to 1 or 2. And well, yeah, but 1 at least.
1.
But there's those opportunities where, you need to know. But some of the issues, sometimes they just stand on their own, and some issues are just,
I hear you,
very clear.
And I ask you this because I know transparency is important to you. I mean, that's part of what your platform has been. And so do you feel as if, sir, that since you've joined the Gardena City Council, you've been able to advocate for, push for, create more opportunities for transparent government? Forget the Brown Act, but just, generally speaking.
Absolutely. Since I've been on council, I've created a document called Budget in Brief. And in that Budget in Brief document, it kind of outlines the revenues and expenditures. It gives definitions of all these acronyms that we throw out.
I was going to say,
and everything, so you understand. It gives you a breakdown of our city demographic in regards to how many employees, the departments, the budgets, where your tax dollars go in the city of Gardena, to create that transparency. So now in our community members can now say, okay, we have X many members in our Parks and Recreations department. Is this enough for us to maintain our facilities? We have X many members in our law enforcement department. Is this what we need to maintain our adequate response times and to keep our quality of life up? So now you understand when we're talking about our transportation department and we're spending money on contracts for new buses and different things like that, because we want to be environmentally conscious in regards to air quality. You understand how the budget works, so you understand, okay, this is what our community is spending our money on. This is what our budget looks like. So that document has been able to actually convey the transparency concept that we wanted to the community to understand, because sitting at home and when you're looking at a council meeting, or when you're sitting in the gallery at a council meeting, we're up there, we're moving, we're throwing terms out, you're hearing dollars, you're hearing, but you don't understand what that is. So me being an educator as well, it's like, you know what, sometimes you have to take people back to the basics. This is what revenue means. This is what expenditures are. This is what revenues mean for a municipality. This is what an expenditure means for a municipality.
And revenues are strong in Gardena?
Revenues are strong in Gardena. Our budget, we are in the black. We've recently passed a 2-year budget. So our budget, we're in good fiscal shape right now. We actually have a reserve. And our reserve, we're just kind of sitting there waiting to either invest in other community projects or public safety projects. So those are some of the things that now we're looking to invest in our own community.
So where do you go from here in our final moments?
In our final moments, I would like to say, I just always want to encourage the community, no matter what community that you live in, that you should always engage the process. Local government is where you can make the quickest and the greatest impact, because you can live virtually next door to your elected leader, and then you can hold us accountable and require more of your elected leaders. They come around and ask for your vote. You want to make sure you see their faces more often than that.
His name is Dr. Mark Henderson. He's the Mayor Pro-Tem of Gardena. I'm Brad Pomerantz. It's Local Edition.